A lot of businesses in general fail due to lack of capital, right? And it's a lot of if this, then that. It's one more thing that eliminates that concern to where if you have that additional capital and you set it up the right way from the beginning, it puts you in a position where if you need mailers, if you need marketing, if you need employees, if you need VAs, it's endless. Business costs money. Businesses cost money. That's just the way that it is. And there's a right and a wrong way to do it. Everyone can make it happen. We know that, we've seen that. But working smarter instead of harder is the name of the game in this business.
Tommy, thanks for sitting down with me and doing this video.
Thank you.
I'm excited for this topic that we're going to talk about on this video because it's the part of the real estate investing business that often gets overlooked, but are really critical components to being successful in the business. I'm talking about entity structure, asset protection, corporate money, financing, corporate credit to get funding. These are some things that when I first got started, I didn't even really think about as necessary. I was worried about, how do I sign a contract or how do I talk to a seller? And yet when I got into the business, I quickly found out that there's these other things that need to complement like actually doing a deal that are really critical.
It's not the most fun component of business, but it certainly is one of the most important at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, no one wants to talk about tax returns, but it's so important that you leverage your write-offs because it's, the money you save is money in your pocket. 100%. And, even like legal. I've been in business now 18 years. I put a post out, you and I were talking about it a minute ago, about this 2-year legal battle that I went through. And learning how to structure my entities and the things I'm doing were really critical to the successful outcome of that. Because had I not been structured right, it could have gone a whole lot worse, right? Because then my family's assets are in jeopardy if they're not structured right. So I want to go through and talk to you about some of these things. And first of all, thank you, Tommy. You and your company, Prime Corporate Service, you've been servicing my clients. You guys do from LLC setups, entity structure, tax returns. It's really amazing. Like I said, some of this asset protection, corporate.
Yeah, business credit,
which is a big one. I want to make sure we talk a little bit about that. And we've had so many happy students of mine go through and use your services. So again, first of all, thank you for doing such an amazing job, with our clients and helping them with these things that often get overlooked or we don't really think about as necessary.
I appreciate you and thank you for that. That's what it's all about, right? At the end of the day, we're all in this thing together. We're all people, and if we can all help each other in some fashion, if it's in the form of asset protection and tax savings, like Jerry said, it is not the most exciting topic in the world, but it is not going anywhere, right? Yeah. That's Benjamin Franklin said the two things that are certain in this life are death and taxes. And the sooner that you can get your ducks in a row, even if you haven't done your first deal, it's not about where you are now, it's where you're going.
Yeah.
And to your point you've been in business for 18 years. You've worked so hard for yourself, for your family, for what you've accomplished. And it's amazing, but there's people out there that you can't control. The more successful you get, the larger that target on your back becomes. Yeah. And if you're set up properly from the beginning, it's a lot easier to mitigate that risk.
Yeah, we're going to put a link on the screen and in the description below. We'll reference it again later, but I want to encourage you to reach out to Prime Corporate Service, have them help you. People ask me all the time, Jerry, do I need an LLC to do my first deal? Like that's one of the most common questions I get. And my answer is no, but why wait? Get it set up, get things done right. If you're serious about this business, then set things up the right way.
I 100% agree. You don't have to do anything, but the IRS wants to see the intent to treat and operate as a business. So you can show a loss 2 out of your first 5 years. Yeah. So even if you haven't done a deal, if you treat it like a hobby, it's going to cost you money like a hobby. Treat it like a business and reap the rewards of what businesses have to offer by
you guys help in so many of those areas where there's all these business write-offs, even education, sure. For you guys that are doing coaching and things like that can be a write-off in your business. So it's so important to get these things set up. So first and foremost, be sure to do that. Reach out to Tommy and his team and they'll really help you get that all done where you don't have to worry about it anymore. You can go back to focusing on deals. But Tommy, it's funny because I was talking to this with my wife and I said, I had no idea how much time and energy I would spend on tax strategy than I do today when I got started. Like I had no concept of how important that was and how much of a part of my business that would be, like the decisions on deals around tax, because it becomes a big part.
One of the biggest expenses most entrepreneurs have is taxes, right?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So
So having those strategies is really critical. But let's take a minute and talk about one of the things you guys offer and do, which is the corporate credit.
Sure.
Explain for somebody listening right now what that means. And most of our audience is real estate investors, so wholesalers and flippers.
Perfect.
How absolutely critical having corporate credit can be for their business.
Yep.
Let's talk about that.
Business credit and corporate funding is so amazing for so many reasons. I'd like to start this by saying I'm yet to meet an entrepreneur that says, I wish I had less money, right?
Less capital to working capital, right?
100%. And it's Business 101 says personal is personal and business is business. So anyone in the US should have a side hustle, should have a side business. And you have your legal name, you have your social security number, and you have your personal credit score, right? So what we try and do with everyone that comes to us is we want to do the same thing for the business. Let's name your business. Let's make sure you have an EIN number, the social security number for your business. Mm-hmm. And if we can build a separate credit profile, keep your personal credit high, right? Mm-hmm. I'm okay with using business credit. I'm okay with that business credit profile looking like a roller coaster because you're lending money to make more money, right? But I want the personal credit to stay the same. So if you can build that business credit, oftentimes interest rates are lower. You can start to build larger lines of credit.
They'll give you increases constantly.
100%. Yeah. And that way you're using business credit, letting the business pay for itself, and then paying yourself from there.
Yeah. I have a client that you guys helped and worked with, and I think he told me you helped him get $100,000 in business credit.
I believe it. Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, how has that impacted your business? And he said, you wouldn't believe what a game changer that is because it's a line of credit, right? He taps it, he uses it for earnest monies and down payments for some of his flips to fund the part that's not covered by his hard money lender. Right. And then when he does the deal, it goes back in. So the line's, full or pay back. Right. And he just keeps using it and moving it through his deals. And he says, it's allowing me to do more deals and better deals. It's taken the pressure off to go raise additional capital. And it's just been a real game changer. And that's how powerful that can be in specifically in our business, wholesaling and flipping. Yep. I mean, it's huge.
Dealing with the taxes and how time consuming and how mentally consuming it can be, it's a game of percentages, right? So if you're getting rewards on that business credit, you're saving money and interest, you're structured properly to where tax-wise you're not overpaying in taxes. But to this client that you're speaking of, if everything's on that one business credit card or that one business line of credit, how easy is that from an organizational standpoint at the end of the year for taxes? Yeah. Right? It's far from a shoebox full of receipts. So,
well, and if you think about how credit works, when he taps that line, he uses that money, then he pays it back, and he uses it, pays it back, uses it, and pays it back. He's showing his credit worthiness to the creditor, right? And so then they're seeing that, and they're more willing now to raise his lines. Right. So then over time, he'll continue to grow that line, right? And now that 100,000 will become 300,000, which means now he can do even more deals and bigger deals. And isn't that crazy? And then take advantage of 0% offers that they'll do.
A lot of
so it's really cool.
A lot of businesses in general fail due to lack of capital, right? And it's a lot of if this, then that. It's one more thing that eliminates that concern to where if you have that additional capital and you set it up the right way from the beginning, it puts you in a position where if you need mailers, if you need marketing, if you need employees, if you need VAs, it's endless. Business costs money. Businesses cost money. That's just the way that it is. And there's a right and a wrong way to do it. Everyone can make it happen. We know that. We've seen that. But working smarter instead of harder is the name of the game in this business.
Man, Tommy, I remember a time where I over leveraged myself on deals and I didn't have working capital in the form of a line of credit or anything. And I remember I had these hard money loan payments due and I was supposed to have a closing. It didn't happen. So I'm like sweating. How am I going to pay these costs, that I have, these payments? And I ended up like running out and wholesaling a deal and made like whatever it was, $10,000. And I was able to like make my payments. But man, I'd have given anything in that time to have a corporate line of credit like this, a business line of credit like this, to then help with those cash flow in between the deals. And that's how powerful that can be to have that. It's huge.
Whether you have $1 million in your checking account or $1 in your checking account, the peace of mind of having your personal and your business separate, it's worth its weight in gold. And you're obviously at a point where I love that you tell that story because I'm sure that's where a lot of the listeners are, right? Am I too early for this? Have I done enough deals to justify these decisions? And
I would tell people, start now. Like seriously, guys, click the link here, set up your call with Tommy's team because sometimes it's a process, right? They're going to go through and they're going to apply and it might take a little time to get that credit. You might have to set up the entity first and build some seasoning into there.
Right.
But start right now. Like get your tax stuff, get your LLC, get your business credit, get all of that stuff going now. And I don't care if you're working on your first deal or you're doing deals, month in and month out. These are things that are going to allow your business to either get off the ground faster or as you're going, do even better.
For sure. And when you talk to us, when you schedule that call, going into it, just let us know where you are. If you're brand new, let us know that you're brand new so that we can talk at a level that makes sense for you of where you are now and where you're headed.
Yeah.
And if you are a seasoned vet and you're doing several deals a week or a month, let us know. If you already have LLCs and S corporations in place, that's great. Just make us aware so the value's there for you to take as much from that call as possible.
Yeah, it was really, one thing I did right early on is I had the foresight of where I wanted to be in business and life. And so I started to really think about asset protection before I even had assets to protect.
Right.
Which was kind of funny because it was like, why am I so worried about this? There's nothing to take from me, But I said, I'm going to do this business and I'm going to be successful. And going back afterwards to try to fix things is like 10 times more work than structuring things the right way in the beginning.
Right.
And so that's why I tell people, look, you really want to try to get things set up the right way in the beginning of doing this business.
For as long as I've done this, one of the most common things that I hear is a lot of people have these vision boards, right? And they have the cars and the houses and the vacations. And what is your business going to look like, right? And when I speak to people, that's what I challenge them to put that on the vision board. What is your business going to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? What are you doing this for? What is your why? And how are you going to get there? If you see what that business is going to look like, you can crawl before you walk and walk before you run. But give yourself that vision of what the end goal is from a business structure standpoint as well, I think is important.
Yeah, love that. Awesome. So guys, I hope you are excited about building out your business. Know that it's not just about, talking to sellers and looking for deals, that there's the other side of this business that's really important to do, meaning the taxes and the asset protection and some of these other things we talked about that are going to really help you be successful. So again, click that link. What it is if you go to that link, you'll set up a free call with you guys. They're going to walk through exactly where you're at, like you said, and help you get on the right track. And so again, thank you, Tommy, and your team for all that you guys do. It's so amazing because before I knew you guys, I didn't really know where to send people, to get this help to really do this the right way. And you guys are providing that value. So
appreciate that.
Thank you for doing that and continuing to support that. Guys, if you haven't, be sure to subscribe to the channel and we'll see you on the next video.